All right, so I'm out on a night ruck, which is what I tend to like to do whenever I'm testing flashlights, stuff like that. I'm gonna be testing out the Olight. This is the Baton Ultra. Now, I also have the Baton 4, but they're really redundant, the Baton 4 Pro. And I also have one of my favorite flashlights that I've been using lately, which has been the Fenix LD30, which is a great EDC flashlight. They're very comparable in size. They're both 18650 flashlights, but the trail I use is pretty dark. I mean, right now I have a light lighting up as I'm walking, but let's kill the light. This is how dark the trail normally is. A car's driving by. That just shows you how dark it is. So this is the Baton 4. When you turn it on, there you go. So this is bringing it on in low, medium. Actually, no, this is low, medium, high. And then we should be able to go to turbo. So pretty good distance there. Let's go down to low, medium, high, turbo. Great coverage. Now, let me just show you what I normally like to carry on some of these night rucks, which is this Fenix. The Fenix has it doesn't have as a focus of a spot, which I can appreciate. The Fenix itself, it just has a very intuitive control, and it has a rear tail switch, which I really like the rear tail switch. Easy to use. Not only we're gonna be testing out, I'm also have the new Sofrin. This is the SE1. This thing just came out. This is a great flashlight if you want to clip on your shoulder strap of your bag, wears a neck flashlight, keychain, all sorts of little like rinky dinky stuff it can do, because it can turn on and actually follow wherever the heck your wrist goes. So that's really good when I'm digging inside of my bag when I stop on a ruck. So the way I typically use these flashlights on these rucks is I tend to just turn it on, turn the flashlight on, whether it's on, usually it's like on something like medium or maybe even high, and I just leave it on and I just walk with it, because I would prefer to see what's coming up versus not. There's a lot of frogs out tonight. There's a whole lot of mating. It's good for the earth, I guess. But a lot of places I go on this trail, super dark, okay? So of course I got knives on me, boomsticks on me, but the ambient light of street lights like that goes away quick on a lot of this trail. As I enter down here, let me kill the light on my camera. Look at that, it gets dark very quickly. That's why I tend to keep this thing on. My initial thoughts, let's put the Fenix away. Let's go with the Baton Ultra. I've been testing this thing out quite a bit. So I would say that one thing I like about it is that the pocket clip does not move. So the pocket clip not moving around means that when I pull this out of my pocket, my thumb always lands on the actual button to turn it on every single time, okay? I love the Fenix, but the Fenix has a pocket clip that moves all over the place. And the only big benefit of the Fenix is it does have a rear tail switch. So even if I don't land on that side button, because it has a rear constant on or momentary, and then it has the side switch, that's a very big advantage. The build quality of the Olight is crazy good. It's a really good build quality. I think, so they call it Olight aluminum. It just makes it very, very durable. I've dropped this thing so many times on pavers, concrete, all sorts of stuff, and it seems to be doing just fine no matter what I do to it. And I like that as well. The rib for her pleasure. The way the ribbing on this thing is, it's super duper easy to maintain grip. So when I'm using this thing, a lot of times it has all this like texturing on the side. 100% makes it so easy to hold on to this flashlight that much better. Just this little bit of surface that it has on there, I like that a ton. Even with all the drops and scrapes that I've used on this, because of the coloring, I think that's gonna hide any type of scratch dents really, really well. This, I used this to drain my pool the other day, dropped it a ton of times in, whether that's on the concrete of the pool, anything. It just seemed to do okay. So that's a really good thing for me as well. So I'm a big old fan of just how it feels like that. Now, if you're asking yourself, how does this compare to your favorite flashlight right now when it comes to this sizing, which is the Fenix LD30. I guess I should have gave my bottom line up front, my bad. If I had to choose between these two, although of the moving tail switch and stuff, it will be the Fenix LD20, mainly because the Fenix does not use a proprietary 18650 battery. This one also has a lock on the back, so if one of my kids find the flashlight, they can't turn it on. If you have the lock, right, so if when you unlock it, the flashlight comes on the last setting that you had it on, I like that a lot. And I like the fact that I can remove this pocket clip and it won't look odd. If you remove the pocket clip on Olight, it's gonna look like something's missing, okay? So those are some of the things that I like. I do like the build quality more of the Olight, but let me just test out my theory, because I'm saying it's a proprietary 1650 battery, but just maybe, Olight is letting other 615 battery, 18650 batteries work inside of theirs. I doubt it, but we're gonna put, so I have these two here, and you can see that the Olight battery just has a different surface area on the bottom, and that's what lets when you click on it, it lets the battery technology know to turn on the flashlight. Let's see what happens when I put this in here. Am I gonna brick the flashlight? Not sure. It doesn't even really close properly. Weird. No, it's not coming on at all. Not coming on, and that does suck, because let me see what happens if I put this in the Fenix. Can it take the battery? No. Is it locked? It is locked. Oh, okay, so that's weird. This can take the Olight battery. How long can it take it? I don't know, because it's able to, those contacts are able to make it work. But this cannot take, let me try to tighten it all the way. Still nothing. So it wants its proprietary battery. I can't tell you guys, when you're in a pinch, how much it sucks to have to wait on an Olight battery to charge. If you didn't bring another 18650 battery with you, that is something that you're definitely going to want to think about and consider for those instances. This is going to be a very small complaint of mine, but a complaint nonetheless, is when this is in the pocket, when I put this in my pocket, I like that the Olight, so the Fenix sits in my pocket like this, tail with the beam down. This sits in my pocket with the beam up, which means when I pull it out of my pocket, I have to turn the flashlight around to activate it. I know I could slip it through this little portion here, which is designed to go on your hat. Both of them have that, but that would be really inconvenient. Bottom line, I like where they're going with this flashlight, but I think that it is competitive. Pricing wise, that's one thing I don't know, is how does it compare pricing wise to some of its competitors. You have, I would say, in this same category of flashlights that I really, really like, we have this Fenix Baton Ultra, or the Olight Baton Ultra. We have the Fenix LD30, and now the LD31, which I don't have, and I don't know if the LD31 uses 18650 or 21700. But, which I didn't bring out with me tonight, which I should have brought because I freaking love it, the Streamlight Mega Stream. That thing is fantastic. Great output, very easy to use, no frills. Only thing it doesn't have, I don't think it has a turbo mode on that flashlight, which kind of sucks because it has plenty of power. But other than that, it is what it is. I will say this. Having the ability to clip this forward facing does come in a pinch, because I'm wearing a bag that has molly webbing. It goes all the way up the shoulder strap, which means when I get tired of carrying this thing, kind of just find a spot up there, put it on there. Now it's facing forward as I walk down. I can do the same thing with this Fenix, but because the pocket clip doesn't move, I know for a fact with the Fenix, there could be times when I put the pocket clip the wrong direction when I try to do that, and I actually cover the side switch. There's still the rear tail switch, but that's something to think about. Now, I will say this thing gets pretty warm, but it doesn't really get warm past halfway past the flashlight. So I've had this thing on high basically for about a half a mile on and off. And the way that they built this thing is that you don't necessarily feel the heat where your hands are towards the bottom. I mean, I don't know how long it could rock turbo mode, I'm assuming it probably can only do it for maybe a minute or so before it bottoms itself down a little bit. But I like the fact that I could leave this on, let's go low, medium. So this is medium right here. If I want to leave this on medium, I probably would rock it on high in some of these darker spots. I'm under underpass right now. But it doesn't necessarily concern me that it's touching my locks that they're going to catch on fire, because I have flashlights that are if they're on high mode or turbo mode near my locks or near a jacket, they're burning through, okay? I don't have to worry about with this. So another feature that you definitely want with something like this is you're gonna want strobe, because if I'm coming through, if I walk up on a homeless person or something like that, normally they're really chill, but there's some real sketchy homeless people, and I want to just be able to hit them real quick with the strobe mode. With hitting them with that 1800 lumen is very important, very, very quickly out the box. This one does come on the high mode, but the ability to do strobe, I don't even know if this flashlight does strobe. It probably does. Nah, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But having the strobe mode on the Olight's easy. Triple tap, you're strobing, you're ready to rock and roll, all that good stuff. Very important for me to just have the ability to turn this thing on, rock it out, use it how I see fit. A lot of times people don't think about just ease of use in user interface when it comes to some of these flashlights. That's super important to me. So if I can't figure out strobe mode on this Fenix, that will give another point to this Olight. I don't know if I've had the need to use the strobe mode on the Fenix, but it would be important to be able to just know exactly how to do it. So let me wrap up. Oh, a little snake. Are you stuck, buddy? Is it dead? Oh man, I hope it's not dead. Hold on. I think his days are numbered. That kind of sucks. You all right, buddy? Yeah, he's dead. That sucks. Those are the good snakes. Those are the ones we want to get rid of bugs, and when it gets bigger, hopefully it can get rid of small mice and all that type of crap. But he's dead, so now the ants will get rid of him. Back to the studio, give you my final thoughts. All right, so the Baton Ultra by Olight. I'm a fan of it. The Baton 4 Pro is pretty nice as well. If you really want to save that 30%, I guess maybe you consider getting the Baton 4 Pro, but I really think to get the better emitter, it's using an EIP emitter, get the more lumen, the better build quality, I would suggest going with the Baton Ultra. The only reason I would say is you don't like the color of this one and you just want that more colorful feature, or if you're more casual, you're not using it for, night rucks and working on vehicles and stuff like that. I still like the Fenix LD30. There are some pros when it comes to the Baton Ultra over my LD30. The magnetic base of the Olight is significantly more useful. It is also nice that, as I mentioned before, this pocket clip on the Fenix will swirl around on you and you can lose track of where this button is, which, to be honest, I have complained about that in the past with other Fenix flashlight. I think I had a PD25R and it had that same, the pocket clip will get away from you, but the tail switch kind of makes up for that. You're kind of like, you kind of get over it because of the tail switch, and you can definitely tell the build quality. I mean, this Fenix feels phenomenal, but when you get the Baton 4 Ultra in your hand, it makes a lot of sense. The reason that I'm going to be using the Fenix more is because I can throw any reliable 18650 battery in here. If I got one in here that belongs to Fenix themselves or Streamlight or any other reputable brand that I trust, not like some no-name 18650 that could, blow up in my pocket, this way more convenient, because there's a lot of times when I haven't charged this for a while, I grab it, I hop in my truck, I'm 3 miles down the road and I go to turn it on and it's not working. And so I could either plug up that USB-C port that's on this battery, or I can just swap it out. Whereas on the Baton 4 Ultra, this one you have to expose and use the USB-C port to charge it, or have an Olight 18650 battery, 18650 battery waiting around for you, because you're not going to be able to use this But I think that's just kind of like my go-to right now. There's going to be a lot of pros and cons for you of why you may consider something else. Of course, I mentioned earlier the Mega Stream exists from Streamlight. The LD31 exists from Fenix. There's plenty of other competitors out there, even in their own lineup, that you may consider. Is this for you? Now, a question you're going to hear a lot is, X, if I have the Baton 3 Pro, do I upgrade to either the Baton 4 Pro or the Baton 4 Ultra? The easy answer on that is yes. More lumen output, better battery life. The fact that they introduced USB Type-C charging on both the Baton 4 Pro and the Baton 4 Ultra, and it's just a much better user interface. This button's always a little mushy, and it doesn't really, just not really the biggest fan of it. It's still a good flashlight. I've had this thing for probably 2 or 3 years now. It works just fine. It still does get crippled by that same proprietary use case for the battery. So even if you want to, you still need an 18650 battery. So you can see that what they did for the Baton 4 series is they made it a little bit bigger, and they introduced the USB-C port so that you're not stuck using an MCC charger from Olight. That is why you do get the bigger size when it comes to either the 4 Pro and especially the 4 Ultra. It's much bigger than the Baton 3 Pro. And although they're all using the same battery, it just seems like that they've gotten much more efficient when it comes to the new series of getting more battery output. So, I mean, let me know down below. What do you think about that? I like the price point. Oftentimes, I'm seeing the Baton 4 Ultra around the $99 mark, sometimes dropping even lower than that. I'm seeing the Baton 4 Pro around $69. So it's a decent price. And if I can go off the longevity of the Baton 3 Pro, for which I think I've had this, don't quote me on this, I think since 2023, and it's just still working well. Haven't had any major issues with the 18650 battery in this. Haven't had to go buy another one from their website. And this one lives in my range bag. So this is a flashlight that just stays in my bag that I'll take to the either pistol or rifle range. And this is going to be getting swapped out for the Baton 4 Pro because I like this flashlight, but if it's dead, I'm SOL because I don't have an MCC charger in my range bag. So that's going to be getting swapped out. But comment down below, what do you think of the new Baton 4 series? I think it's giving the Warrior series and Olight a run for its money. I really do believe that this gives you little reason to even look at anything like the Warrior 4, or if you have an old Warrior 3, unless you just like the functionality of having a rear tail switch, it's hard to just not get this 4 Ultra because it is a very good light. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's something else I need to check out. Maybe I'm hoping they bring out another Javelot. I've seen the Javelot Pro, and then they had a Javelot Mini. I want another Javelot. I know that uses a 21700, but it just gives me, that's the sweet spot for me. I love the Javelot. First time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you a part of the Battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.